Man, I won't make that mistake again. I underestimated him. Let's talk about the next match. We've got Jacob Fatu. He got a win over LA Knight. He's the new U.S. champion. This is the same trajectory we saw John Cena once upon a time. Of course, he famously beat Big Show at WrestleMania for the U.S. title. And then the next year, he was working with you for the world title. Do you expect a similar trajectory for Jacob Fatu? I mean, what is his ceiling? What is his peak, do you think?
Yeah, I just hope it's not the same trajectory where he's working with me, because he might hurt me.
That's a fair statement. I guess everybody now wants to wonder, though, what's next for LA Knight? A couple of years ago, I could have seen if he's losing the U.S. title, oh, maybe they're getting ready for the world title. Do you think that's still in the cards, or will LA Knight's career take a different turn next?
I think there's going to be a lot of places he can go here. I think he's going to get the keys to the car, and I think it's going to be up to him. And he's done a very good job, and I think he'll do well going forward. Some of the stuff he did where he hops on the top rope, I mean, and I'm not saying this in a bad way. I'm saying it in a very good way. You know, he's in his early 40s, is that right?
Yes.
I mean, when I was in my early 40s, they acted like you were 70. It was like, oh my God, he's old. These guys now, because they take care of themselves so well, 40 doesn't matter anymore. That age doesn't matter anymore. I think he's a fantastic athlete, and I think he'll be just fine. I think he's going to get the keys to the car, and they're going to have options of where he can go, and I think he's going to excel like he's done everywhere else. Jacob Fatu, to me, is the guy that they want to send to the moon. And I have a feeling he's going to be up there with Buzz Aldrin, because that son of a bitch is good. He good, as Booker would say. When Booker is awake, now when Booker's asleep, he doesn't say anything because he's asleep.
Well, no. When Booker's praying,
that's right. Pray out. It is Easter weekend.
Hey, you know, we're talking a little bit about Jacob Fatu. Of course, he was a big part of the Bloodline story there at the end. But I think a lot of people were sort of reeling in the idea that the Bloodline story seems to be put to bed. I mean, we've even heard Michael Cole sort of say that, hey, everyone's sort of gone their own way. Of course, that does give the opportunity for there to be reunions and continuations of that storyline down the road. But I can't help but see what's happening with Jacob Fatu and wonder, if he wasn't here, would that have been Solo's spot? I mean, Solo found himself without even a WrestleMania match. You've been there or in the business and in this company for a long time, where it feels like everything is destined for one person, and then there's some sort of a pivot. I think that's the popular word online.
How great was, Hunter answered the question about the word pivot, like, we screwed up. We don't want to pivot. I think that was a terrific answer, because people love to say that, oh, we just need to pivot. That means you had the wrong damn thing planned, is what that means.
Well, I'm wondering, what do you think is next for Solo? And do you feel bad? Do you feel like, man, Jacob Fatu is just undeniable, and he swooped in, and maybe that was Solo's spot once upon a time?
It could have been. Absolutely could have been. I mean, you have a guy come in, Jacob Fatu. I mean, look, you and I have been either wrestling fans or in this business for a very, very long time. You don't have a guy come on like Jacob Fatu very often.
That's right.
He's once in a generation guy that comes along. It's shocking how good he is. And it may have been Solo's spot. I don't know. But all of a sudden, Jacob Fatu comes in, and you're like, we got to make way for this. Doesn't mean that Solo doesn't get his chance, but it means that Jacob Fatu goes to the front of the line, not just in front of Solo, but in front of a lot of people. I mean, because he's that good. He really is that good. I see him, in the main event of WrestleMania. I don't know if next year or the next year, he's going to be there, I think, unless an injury happens or whatever, could possibly happen, but he should be there. He's that freaking good. And the Bloodline, to me, you don't want to NWO it, and I'm not taking a shot at the NWO. Greatest storyline probably in the history of wrestling, that or Mr. McMahon. I think one of the two was probably the greatest storyline ever. But then all of a sudden, Virgil's in it, and you overdo it. You don't want to do that with the Bloodline. It was too good, and these guys are all still there. And if you want to reform it, I think you can, but you don't want to water it down.
A lot of people were talking about this one in advance of the show. There was lots of rumor and innuendo that these ladies didn't like each other. And, well, man, we fans, we love the idea of saying, I know what wrestling is, but this was real. A lot of people were pointing to this one and saying, oh, did you see the bruises on Stephanie? Or or on Tiffany and she was bleeding from the mouth. And was that supposed to happen? Well, whatever you want to call it, Tiffany Stratton is your new women's champion. She retains with a big win over Charlotte Flair. Of course, I guess Charlotte had sort of poked the bear in this regard and saying, hey, he didn't really win it. It was a cash in. Well, if there was any question as to whether or not Tiffany was a bona fide WWE superstar, well, beating Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, that'll go a long way. What'd you think of this one, John?
I thought what you said is all true. And I thought when you become a champion, sometimes you got to walk through hell to become a true champion that's more than just somebody that's holding the title. And that's a big difference. You know, the champion that kind of starts to transcend the sport, to transcend the genre. You know, you look at it, Brett and Steve, that match they had, that was about Steve going through hell. You know, and once Steve got through that, it wasn't just about, double turn. It was about showing that Steve could hang with a guy as good as Bret Hart. That's very important. Triple H talking about Mick Foley in the Hall of Fame. That's about the aristocrat Hunter, the blue blood, showing that he can hang with this hardcore legend. You got to have matches like this. I thought the same thing when I had John Cena in the I Quit match. That was the importance of that match. That match was more important than WrestleMania putting the title on him, showing that he could walk through hell. Tiffany had to show that she could walk through hell against a Flair, one of the greatest of all time. And she's, you talk about the Mount Rushmore of women, Charlotte's on everybody's Mount Rushmore, but she walked through hell. And because of that, now she can hold up that title. It completely changed the way people will view her as a champion, because no longer is she the one that cashed in. She's the one that walked through hell with the legend and came out the other side with the title. That was a very important match.
It was a big match to make her and solidify her. And I'm seeing some comments even live here saying that, oh, Tiffany wound up with a chipped tooth. That's not the case. She had blood in her teeth. So that's what you believe made it a chipped tooth. But I saw some people who said, no, she chipped the tooth during the match and it was fixed by the time the post-match press conference happened.
Yeah, because they have a dentist in the back.
I know Kane was in town, but I don't think he was doing dental repair. But there is a wrestling dentist out there, but we'll move on. We should mention the next match is one.
But hey, Conrad, first, people still love blurring the line.
Yes, they do.
People still love it. And I get all this. And I've seen the comments, people are talking about, the kayfabe and non-kayfabe. I don't give a shit about any of that. People still love blurring the line and wanting to know that there could be an element of danger, that there might be some personal animosity. There's always that it doesn't mean you're not discussing stuff. I don't care about none of that. They're drawing enormous crowds. They're doing something right. But people still love the intrigue of, hey, that milk bottle trick by Houdini. He might could die, couldn't he? You don't know for sure. And that's cool.